Good morning, ma. Welcome to Alpha Online Education Commerce Theory part for the second year's English medium. The chapter that we are dealing with, that is the 10th chapter, Functions of Management. We have discussed in the previous section, previous sessions, about the 9th chapter, that is Principles of Management. In the 10th chapter, we are going to discuss about the functions of management. This is the first session of this chapter. So let us start what is the functions of the management. So there are the number of functions of the management which we will discuss in detail, each and every topic. First, meaning and steps of planning. So what is here means, in the management has to prepare some certain functions. Based on that functions, the management can achieve the ultimate goal of the organization. Means the whole goal of the organization can be achieved by certain functions of the management. That is, first one is planning, which we are going to discuss now in this session, and next one is organizing, and next one is staffing, and next is directing, and the final, that is controlling. These 5 are the most important functions of management. Now we are going to discuss about the first function, that is the planning. So planning is decided in advance what to do. Yes, planning means it is done in advance. It is an activity which is done in advance. It is the first step of functions of management. It involves what to do, deciding in advance what to do, okay, what we have to do, how to do, how we have to do, okay, what we have to do and how we have to do. It is one of the basic management function. Means basic means the first. So number 1, the first management function, that is planning. Planning involves setting objectives. So what the planning involves? It involves setting objectives and developing appropriate course of actions. Means developing appropriate course of action means developing appropriate means correct, okay, developing correct actions, okay, setting the objectives, okay, and creating some of the planning, how those objectives can be achieved by implementing that plan into action, by implementing those plans into actions for achieving these objectives. So the planning involves the first step, that is setting the objectives, and afterwards preparing how to do, when to do, what to do, that and implementing that into an action. By that they can achieve the objectives, what they have set the objectives, there can be achieved. Objectives provide direction for all managerial decisions and actions. So based on the objectives only, the manager will take the decisions and prepare the actions. On the basis of objectives only, the manager will take the decisions and prepare the actions, okay. Planning provides a rational approach for achieving predetermined objectives. Predetermined objectives means, ప్రీడిటర్మైండ్ అంటే ముందుగానే అనుకున్నాం, ఓకే, ముందుగానే అంచనా వేసినవి, ముందుగానే ఊహించినవి. సో ప్రీడిటర్మైండ్ objectives. First only we have determined the objectives, what will be our objective. For example, our objective is to increase the sales, then that is our objective. We have to predetermining that our sales has to be increased in some crores. So that is predetermined. ముందుగానే అంచనా వేసుకుంటున్నాం ఎంత సేల్స్ పెంచాలి అనేది. So that is the objective, and that objective we will start working towards that objective. How to achieve that objective, for that planning is necessary. Planning ni ఇంకొక విధంగా కూడా పిలుస్తారు, strategy అంటారు, okay, strategy. So don't get confused in exam. In case planning place లో strategy ని ఇస్తే మేడం చెప్పలేదని చెప్పకండి, because planning, strategy both are equal. Steps in planning. What are the steps involved in planning? Let us see. Determination of each department. So it determined the objectives of each department and whole organization. So the planning, the manager first determined the objectives of each department, and afterwards the whole organization, what are their objectives and how we have to achieve that objectives. Now laying down policies to be followed. Now they prepare some policies, okay, which are in the favor of the objectives, which are easy to achieve those objectives. Those policies are laid down. Next, in the third step, laying down standards of performance and procedures. So how they have to perform, employees how they have to perform, and in what procedure they have to perform. The type of standards means procedure, complete procedure they have to be laid down. The manager will lay down the standards of performance and procedure. Preparation of the budget. How much will be the budget? How much will be the expenditure will be takes place while implementing those plan into action? What will be the budget, okay, of for each department or for the whole organization? What will be the sales budget? What will be the cash budget? What will be the material budget, etc. Means manufacturing budget, purchasing budget, what it will be. So complete planning steps, these all are the steps. First they will determine the each department objective, and afterwards whole organization objective, and afterwards they lay down the policies, and afterwards they will prepare the standards for the performance and procedure of the procedures by which we can achieve the objectives, and afterwards they will estimate the budget. So this is about the introduction, means meaning and steps of the planning. Now let us move on to the importance of planning. What are the importance of planning? Why planning is necessary in the management? So focus on objective. For achieving the objectives, good plan is required. Planning compels the manager to consider the future and make them to recognize the needs for correct and extending the plans. So what the planning will do, it will focus on the objectives. We will prepare plan in order to achieve the objectives. So that's why it will completely focus on objectives. Whatever the objectives, on that it will be focused. So when we are preparing the plan should be good plan. If there is a good plan, then only we can achieve the objectives easily without any difficulties. And also we have to recognize the need for correct and extending the plan. So we have to, while extending the plan, we have to determine whether it is a need to extend the plan. Extend means vistarinchadam. In order, it is necessary to extend the plan or it is not necessary. Whether the plan which we are extending, it is correct or not. 1 to 10 times the manager should have to think. After that he has to start preparing that plan. Economical operation. So as the planning involved budget, okay, they have to determine the budget. What will be the budget, how much amount is required after preparing the plan. When they are coming to the execution, means when the time for implementing, what will be the expenditure, that everything. Economical operation. Planning is an economical operation. It is preparing a plan for the economical thing, that is the business. Business is an economical activity, right? It decide in advance what is to be done. In advance we are deciding what is to be done, who is to be done, who will do that, how is to be done, and when is to be done. The planning involves what is to be done, who is to be done, how is to be done, and when is to be done. Decisions are made on the basis of facts and considered estimates. So decisions, whatever the decisions are there, the decisions are taken on the basis of the facts. Facts means truth, reality. Based on the facts and considered estimates, they will estimate what will be the expenditure, what will be the budget required for the plan. Okay, that is completely done in the second stage, that is economical operation stage. Next, reducing uncertainties and changes. By implementing the plans, we can reduce uncertainty and changes. Uncertainties means we can't estimate the uncertainties. Okay, we can't estimate the changes which are going to be happened in the dynamic environment. See, this complete management means management will be in the business. So in the business in the society, that is in the dynamic environment, we can't know what will be happened at the what time. An enterprise work in a dynamic world, the future is uncertain. So the enterprise in a dynamic world, so that's why the future is uncertain. Planning enable the enterprise to meet the uncertain and changing conditions in the future. So with the planning, they can attend whatever the uncertainties arise, whatever the changes arise, they can attend it by making an appropriate correct planning. This helps the growth of the enterprise. It will help for the growth and for the survival of the enterprise. Without the planning, nothing is possible. For your examination also, you have to prepare a plan. What you have to study, what are the easy subjects for you, what are the difficult subjects for you. The easy subjects you can spend less time, on the hard subjects you can spend more time. So that is also a planning. Without planning we can't achieve any objective. Without planning we can't achieve any target or any goal. Yes, facilitates control. Planning helps the manager to determine the work in advance. So manager can determine the work in advance, how the work will be done. In advance he can determine. After that, when the work is performed, the actual performance, what the work is actually performed, that is compared with the estimated result. If they are estimating the result of 10,000 units of excess production, 10,000 units of excess production they are estimating, but the actual performance that only 5,000 units are produced, then 5,000 units are not produced, means whatever the estimation is there, that is not completely successfully reach the target. So there is certain drawback in the planning. So what I am saying is, if their estimated 10,000 units of production, but that is estimated 10,000 units, but actually they performed only 5,000 units of production. So how much the difference will be? 5,000 units. Now what is the reason for the not achieving the 5,000 units extra? Means there is something mistake is done in the planning. So facilitate the control. By that they can make the control of certain things. So that's why the planning is necessary in order to determine the actual performance with the estimated results. Estimated means predetermined. ముందుగానే అంచనా వేసిన రిజల్ట్స్ ని యాక్చువల్ గా పర్ఫామ్ చేసిన దాంతోటి కంపేర్ చేసి చూస్తే అది ఎక్సెస్ వస్తే ఇట్స్ ఎ గుడ్ ప్లాన్, తక్కువ వస్తే ఇట్స్ ఎ బ్యాడ్ ప్లాన్. ఇప్పుడు మీరు కూడా ప్లానింగ్ చేసుకుంటారు ఇది సబ్జెక్ట్ ఇట్లా చదవాలని. వెన్ యూ గెట్ ద రిజల్ట్స్, మీరు అనుకున్నట్టు రిజల్ట్స్ వస్తే దానికన్నా ఎక్కువ వస్తే ఇట్స్ అ గుడ్ ప్లాన్. నెక్స్ట్ ఇయర్ కూడా అదే ఇంప్లిమెంట్ చేస్తారు. ఇఫ్ యూ ఆర్ నాట్ గెటింగ్ గుడ్ మార్క్స్ బై దట్ ప్లాన్, you will change the plan. You will make changes where there is where you are failed. Okay, you will make certain changes in the plan. So that is about the importance of planning. Let us focus on the futures of planning. Planning is an intellectual process. Intellectual means a single human being process. Okay, the manager has to get relevant facts. The manager should have to he has to collect the facts, organize them and use them to how best the objectives of the organization can be attained. So the first the manager should have to bring all the facts. Okay, after seeing all the facts, he has to organize them, he has to arrange them and use them in a systematic manner so that they can achieve the objectives easily without attending to any kind of difficulties. They can achieve the objectives easily. In thinking of the objectives, the manager go through the intellectual process. Intellectual means he will go for a deep study, deep thinking. Yes, intellectually means single person will going into a deep study, deep understanding about the facts what are available to him. Okay, next, planning is a goal oriented. Unnecessary, no one will prepare the plan. Yes, by wasting the time, if we prepare the plan unnecessary, it is a waste of time. That's it. So the plan is always prepared to achieve certain goals. It follows that every plan must contribute in some positive way to accomplish a group of objectives. So every plan is prepared in some positive way. Okay, in order to achieve some positive result, we will prepare the plan and also we will achieve the group objectives. Whatever the in organization, we have the group objectives. Yes, team objectives. Yes, those things we can achieve only by appropriate planning. Appropriate means by the correct planning and by setting appropriate correct goals. Okay, you have to set correct goals. Yes, next, planning is a primary function of management. Yes, it is the first step of functions of management. The other functions of the management can be performed only after the manager has done necessary planning. So the remaining functions, whatever is there, that can be performed only after performing the planning. Only after performing the function of the planning, the manager can perform organizing, after staffing, after directing, and afterwards last controlling. So planning is the first primary function of management. Planning is directed towards efficiency. A plan is a course of action that shows a promise of optimizing returns. Optimizing means good returns. Okay, at the minimum expenditure of input. With minimum expenditure, maximum output. Maximum output means maximum returns. Optimizing returns means good returns. Very less expenditure, but the returns will be very good returns. That type of planning should be done. Planning is directed towards efficiency. How effectively, how good the resources, which are very scarce resources, how they have to use that resources and how they have to achieve goals with that resources. For that everything, the correct planning is required. Without the planning, nothing is possible. In order to achieve goals, objectives, targets of the business organization, planning is the first function for the management. After that only the other functions can be performed. So in the next session, in the second session, we are going to discuss about the limitations of planning, means disadvantages of planning. Yes. Good morning, ma. Welcome to Alpha Online Education. Commerce theory part for the second year's English medium, and the chapter that we are dealing with that is the 10th chapter, functions of management, and this is the second session of this chapter. So here we are going to discuss about the limitations of planning. Limitations means the disadvantages of planning, what are there, we are going to discuss. Uncertain future. The future is uncertain. We can't estimate the future. Even though we are preparing the plan for the future, sometimes it will be successful and sometimes it will be fail. We can't say what is going to be happen in the future. So that's why even though making the planning, the future is uncertain, so we can't estimate exact thing what is going on in the future. Sometimes it will be it will make the plan totally flap. Okay, so planning is made on the basis of estimate of the conditions of the future. So planning is based on the conditions, on the estimates of the future. The future will be like this, means estimation. That is not actually like that, but there will estimate the future. Okay, then forecasting is done. Forecasting means mundu chupu. Okay, forecasting is done on the basis of information and the facts collected. So forecasting, what is to be done, what is the actual thing based on the facts and also on the basis of information what is collected. On the basis of they start studying what will be the situation, what is the situation and what will be the situation in the future. Okay, even if the collected information is reliable, the future is uncertain and can't be predicted accurately. Even the information, the fact, what we have collected, that is completely correct, even though we can't we can't estimate the future because it is uncertain and can't be predicted accurately. We can't predict, means we can't estimate accurately that these will going to be happen. Example, see the COVID-19. No one expected in January 2020 that we are going to face a new type of virus. Total our country will going to be under lockdown. We are not we did not estimated that. Even the businessmen also not estimated that. So that is the future which we can't able to estimate, which we can't able to accurately see what is going to be happened in the future. We can't see it accurately whether it will be happened or not. If that happened, well and good. If it is not happened, then what we can do, because it is a future not in our hands. Planning will not achieve the expected result. So planning will generally not sometimes it will be not achieve the expected results. Okay, sometimes it will cross the expectations level, sometimes it will below the expectation levels. Next, rigid. In planning, policies, procedures and programs are determined in advance. So while making the planning, while preparing the plan, then policies, procedures and programs, whatever is there regarding the plan, that are determined in advance, means that are planned in advance only. Okay, now after determining the programs, policies, procedures, the employees, they have to be followed by the employees. So the employees has to follow that. Okay, the employees are not given freedom to express their opinion, express their intention, to show something in a creativity way. There is not given that option here. These restricted the personal freedom. Individual initiative is suppressed. Suppressed means completely pressing the capability, pressing the creativity mind of the employee, not allowing the employee to think anything, to do anything. The employees completely have to work just like a robot. Okay, whatever the instructions are given, he have to do that instructions, but he no need to think, he no need to do something in a creativity way, he no need to apply his capabilities, because everything is done in the planning itself. So it is a type of drawback for the employee. Expensive. Planning requires more time and money for preparation. Small organizations can't afford planning. So planning generally required more time is required. Okay, and money is also required for the planning. It is an economically related thing. Yes, this economical related function of the management. So money is required. This is only possible for the large scale organizations, but for the small scale organization, the planning is completely impossible because the turnover is very less. Investment. Capital invested in the firm is very powerful. So capital, whatever invested in the firm, that is very powerful. Internal restrictions on planning. So that will create some type of restrictions on the planning. Okay, the capital, whatever the capital invested in the firm, that will keep certain types of restrictions on the planning. While the manager making the planning, he have to think about the capital amount, where they have invested, whether they have purchased the equipment, or what they have given some training, where they have spent their capital. The manager should have to consider that also. Changes in the environment, okay, changes in the external environment, required overlapping. Overlapping means just like chasing the chedam annattu. Okay, overlapping aspect of capital already invested in the business in the form of equipment or training. So after preparing one plan, again they have to invest certain amount of capital. Already they have prepared, they have bring the capital and they have invested in the purchase of equipments or given training to employees or laborers or workers, whatever it may be. Afterwards preparing the plan, again they have to bring certain capital, again they have to invest on the equipments or training the employees or whatever it may be. So it is a double work. Overlapping means double. So it is make the overlapping, the capital they have to overlap, they have to bring again and again according to the plan. Yes. Next one, external factors. There are external factors of planning which have no control at all by the internal agencies. So external factors like government policies, changes in the customer taste, changes in the preference of the consumers. So these type of things which are external, those things we can't able to control, right? We can't able to control the external factors. So we can control only internal factors. So that's why the external factors can't be controlled with the planning. The planning means while he collecting the information and facts, whatever the information and facts he is collecting, while he collecting the information and facts, he will collect the information regarding the organization. Within the internal matters, he will collect the information. He don't know the external factors, what is going to be happen. Suddenly government will declare one type of policy, then the total plan has to be changed. Suddenly if the government gives some type of subsidy, then the plan has to be changed. So due to external factors, the plan is very much affected. Changes in technology will make the damage to the plan what they have prepared. So these factors, these are the disadvantages of which make the planning is not possible. Okay, first is uncertain future. We can't estimate future. Rigid, employees can't express their opinion because everything is done by the manager himself. It is an expensive, not possible for the small scale organization. Investment, again and again and again investment is required according to the planning. External factors, we can't estimate the external factors. Yes, this is about the limitation. Let us meet in the other section with the remaining functions of the management. Okay, right. Good morning, ma. Welcome to Alpha Online Education. Commerce theory part for the second year's English medium. So we are dealing with the chapter that is functions of management. This is the third session of our chapter. So in this session, we are going to study about the organizing. In the previous session, we have discussed about the planning, steps of the planning. Yes. So in this session, we are going to study about the second stage of the functions of management, that is organizing, and what are the steps in organizing and what is the importance of organizing. We are going to study about these topics in this session in detail. So organizing essentially implies a process which coordinates human efforts, assemble resources and integrates both into a unified whole to be utilized for achieving specified goals. So what here written means, organizing means bringing all the resources, whatever the resources that are required, human resources, okay, human resources, human effort, in order to bring all the resources which are used, which are utilized in order to achieve the specific objective of the business organization, whatever it may be. In order to achieve that specific organization, the human effort is required to organize, to bring all things together that will help for the achievement of the ultimate objective of the business organization. So it assemble the resources. We need human resource, financial resource, management resource. Yes, these resources, all the resources, whatever the resources we require, those all resources we have to assemble. Sorry. Assembling means gathering and integrates both into a unified whole. Integrating means combining these all into a whole, okay, combining it totally into a whole so that we can utilize that whole okay, so that we can utilize that whole in order to achieve the specific objective of our business organization. So organizing plays the second important role in the functions of the management. Okay, so let us see the steps in the organizing. The first step is identification and division of work. Yes, the first step is identification and division of work. In the heading itself it is there, we have to identify the members who are having the talent, who having the skills to complete the work, and we have to divide that work in those members and we have to give that work to those members. In the heading itself there is an explanation. See, the work is divided into manageable activities. Who have the ability to manage the activities, in those we have to divide the work into managerial activities. Means every individual, all individuals don't have the same capacity. Yes, so who having that capacity, that persons can able to manage. Okay, so that duplication means చేసిన పని మళ్ళీ చేయాల్సిన అవసరం రాదు. వర్క్ డివైడ్ చేయడం వల్ల no need to do the work again and again. The work which is already done, no need to do again and again by the division of work. So we can avoid the duplication of work. Okay, it is completely avoided and the burden of the work can be shared. We can share the burden of the work among the employees. By the division of work, we can share the work among the employees and it will reduce the burden of the work on a single employee or a group of employees. Because the work is divided, then that employee will do that work very perfectly. Next one is departmentalization. Departmentalization means creation of departments. Okay, creation of departments and submitting work to the department. Okay, once work have been divided into small and managerial activities. When the work is divided into small and managerial activities, means you can manage those work in those activities. Then those activities which are similar, the activities which are similar in nature are grouped together. Okay, those activities which are similar in nature, those activities should have to bring under one group. Okay, and that group is considered as departmentalization. That grouping process, similar activities, if there is similar activities regarding raw material. Okay, raw material group means that group, what that group will do, how much raw material is required, how much raw material is in process, and how much we have to keep the order, and how much raw material is going into wastage. They will keep the complete information and record about that. Another group, that is finance group, it will see how much raw material we have to purchase, how much maintenance charges we have to maintain, and how much electricity bill should we have to maintain. So these all they will maintain. So by making these types of groups is known as departmentalization. Okay, the work which is having the similar nature, the work which has a similar nature, that have to be grouped. Okay, that each group is known as departmentalization. Assignment of duties. After making the departments, now for every department their duties, what they have to perform, okay, that should be given. Once the departments have been formed, jobs are then allocated to the members of each department in accordance to their skills and competency. According to the skill and competency means according to the skill and qualification and talent in each group, the group members should have to give the work. Okay, their work should have to be given to them according to their skill, ability, talent. It is essential for effective performance. It will make effective performance, good performance. that a proper match is made between the nature of the job and the ability of an individual. So there should be a matching. There should be a matching between the nature of the job and the ability of the individual. The individual should have that ability to do that job. So that job only should have to given to that individual. Otherwise the work will be pending, the work can't be performed, the work will be delayed. It will create the whole organization will be suffered. If there is a stop, if there is work is stop in any one department, then the whole organization will be suffered. So in order to avoid that type of problems, the work should have to be divided based on the skills and the competencies. Okay, there should be a match the following antam kada aa vidhanga match. There should be a match between the nature of the job and the ability of the individual. Okay, establishing reporting relationship. They should establish the reporting relationship. To whom we have to report, what we have to report. There should be, in the previous session I told you that one subordinate should have to receive instructions from one superior only. One subordinate should have to receive instructions from one superior only. Otherwise it will create a type of tension to him. His mind will become just like a pressure cooker and it will suddenly burst. Burst means it will not burst, he will left his job and he will go to home. So establishing reporting relationship means each individual should also know. Each individual, every individual who is the member of the department, everyone should have to know who has to take orders, from whom they have to take the orders and to whom he is accountable. Accountable means answerable. From whom we have to take orders and to whom we have to answerable. That every individual in the organization, every individual in the group, every individual in the department should know to whom we have to answer. Then they will do the work accordingly, and also it will create a clarity and it avoid the duplication or overlapping anna, duplication anna, ambiguity anna, ivanni okate meanings. Chesina pani malli cheyadam annattu, again and again doing the same work. It will wastage of time, wastage of money, wastage of human effort also. It helps to create order structure. There will be an order, the structure will be in an order, and coordination among the various departments. There will be coordination. The superior, what he will do? He will coordinate. He will coordinate his members because he has to give orders to them and they have to answerable to him. So there is certain coordination, there is some type of help from the superiors to the subordinates. So it will be very good for them. So that's why establishing reporting relationship is very important in the stage of organizing. Here we are organizing everything and we are making the groups of similar nature work, and we making that group as a departmentalization, means departments, and each department is given one work, and for that work they have to take orders from one superior and they have to answer to that one superior only. That is about the steps in organizing. Let us focus now on the importance of organizing. So, importance of organizing is also very important thing in the management. In that first one we have benefits of specialization. So, organizing reduces the workload as well as enhance the productivity because of the specific workers performing a specific job on a regular basis, which lead to gain experience in that area. So benefit of specialization, when the organizing reduce the workload, it will reduce the workload as well as it enhances productivity, means it will increases the productivity. How it will increasing the productivity means because of specific workers Because of specific category of workers, they are performing the same job again and again and again and again. When they are performing the same job regularly, there will be very expert. There will be just like experts, like a specialist in that work. Okay. So for example, if you are doing TikToks, ఇప్పుడు లేదు ఉన్నప్పుడు, if you are doing TikToks, you will be the TikTok star. How? You will daily do the same thing. That's why you have the complete knowledge. You know how to share it, how you have to do the video, how you have to edit the video. You know everything about that because you are using that app. You will become expert in that. In the same way, in the workplace also, how the labor, how the employees are working, how they are doing the similar thing, they will get the experience and also they become specialist in that. Okay. So that is about the first important. Second, clarity in the working relationship. This is similar to the establishing reporting relationship. Both are similar. So what is here? Who is to report to whom? So who has to report to whom? Okay, from whom we have to take the orders. There should be clarity. This remove ambiguity, means double task, overlapping or duplication of the work in transfer of information and instructions. So the superior will give instructions and information, what to do, how to do, when to do, at what time it should have to be completed. So while he giving instructions, the employees can perform the job easily because they are given that task only. After the completion of task, they will get relaxment. Again, when the task time started, again they will do the task again and again. When you do the same work again and again, you will get the experience. You will be specialized in that and you can complete the work within in few seconds. You can't take much time. Within 10 minutes, 20 minutes you can complete. For example, when you are preparing for exams, when you study the whole syllabus of one subject, it will take nearly 1 month time for you to prepare for one subject. Okay. If you have started preparation early, if you are preparing totally, it will take nearly 1 month for detailed study of that subject. When you are studying second time, it will take 15 days. When you study the third time, it will take 7 days. When you study at the time, at the moment of the examination, it will take 1 day. And when you are going for the exam at that time, you will just take half an hour for total revision of that subject. Because while reading again and again, you are becoming expert. In the same way, here also by doing same activity, they are becoming experts. Optimum utilization of resources. Optimum means full, complete utilization of resources, whether that are human resource or financial resource or any material resources, whatever it may be the resources, whether they are materials or finance or human resources, whatever it may be, it should be completely utilized by the division of the work among the groups. By that we can avoid the overlapping of work. Adoption of changes. It allows the organization structure to be suitable, modified. Okay, the organization can make the modification. Modification means changes. And the revision of the interrelationship among the managerial levels. So, revision means interrelationship among the managerial levels. We have 3 levels of management. Top level, middle level, lower level. So there will rewind whether that what they are making the changes, what they are implementing the new type of modifications, whether they are correctly implementing from the top level to the lower level or not. They will check it. Okay. To lay down smooth transitions. By that the organization can be run smoothly. Okay. Next, effective administration. Effective administration. Organizing provides a clear description of the job. By doing the organizing, by dividing the work, by making the groups, by making the departments, it is clear for every individual what is their job and related duties and what are the duties related with that job. Okay. These helps to avoid confusion and duplication. So these will help not only to avoid duplication but also to avoid the confusion in the employee, because when an employee is know clearly about his job, what he has to do, then he can perform the work very fast. So that's why it is important. So this is organizing. In the next session we are going to study about the staffing, means employment related, how to recruit the employees, how they have to be sent for the training. We will study in the next session, that is the fourth session. Okay, right. Good morning ma, welcome to Alpha Online Education Commerce Theory part for the second years English medium. The chapter that we are dealing with, that is the functions of the management. This is the fourth session of this chapter, the 10th chapter. So in this session we are going to discuss about the staffing. What is staffing? So in many organizations there is need for people to perform the work. So in organizations, who will perform the work? The people will perform the work. So every organization will require the employees. Okay, without employees no organization can be run. Staffing means simply employing. Staffing is generally known as employing the people in the organization in their particular jobs. Okay. The staffing function of management fulfills these requirements and find the right person for the right job. So the management will find the right person for the right job, who has the capacity, who has the ability, who has specific qualification for which is required for the job. That person will be selected and that person will be placed at that job. Okay. On account of rapid technological advancement, due to rapid technological advancement means changes in technology, growing the size of the enterprises and complex nature of human behavior, these made that it will be necessary to employ the new persons in the job, and also sometimes training is also required to the employees in order to update the employees with the change in technology or with the growing size of the enterprise. So sometimes the training is also important for the employees, and also workshops, that is also important for the employees sometimes. Okay. Staffing is a continuous function. So among the functions of the management till now we have discussed about planning, organizing, and the third one is staffing. So here in the staffing it is a continuous function. It is not a one day function or 2 day function. It is a continuous function. Function means not that function. What means ఏదో ఫంక్షన్ చేస్తారు కదా, మ్యారేజ్ ఫంక్షన్ అలాంటిది కాదు. సో ఫంక్షన్ మీన్స్ కంటిన్యూస్ యాక్టివిటీ. ఓకే. ఇన్ రీసెంట్ ఇయర్స్ స్టాఫింగ్ ఈజ్ రిగార్డెడ్ యాజ్ ఎ సపరేట్ మేనేజ్మెంట్ ఫంక్షన్. In the recent years it is considered as a separate management function. Actually why it is considering as a separate management function means due to the reasons these: rapid technological advancement, growing size of the enterprise, and complex nature of human behavior. So these all make the management that staffing is a separate management function. It requires some special talent for the management also to select the correct person for the correct job. Okay. Why it is a continuous process means, why it is a continuous function means, see, if an employee die, in that place another employee has to be replaced. If an employee retired, in that case another employee has to be other employee has to be appointed, and in case if an employee he left his job, so there is number of reasons are there. So employees will change regularly. So when the employees are changing, it will become necessary to appoint the correct person for that job. Okay. So importance of staffing. What are the importance of staffing? Let us see. Helps in discovering and obtaining competent personnel for various jobs. Means we are, in this stage, in this function, management will discover and obtain the personnel, means the person for various jobs in the organization. For the jobs, they can select the correct employee with the help of the staffing, bringing higher performance by putting right person on the right job. So bring higher performance. High performance employees are employed at the workplace and they are put at the right person at the right job. Continuous growth and survival of enterprise. By doing these type of continuous appointment and training to the employees, the growth and the survival of the enterprise is also increases. Helps to ensure optimum utilization of human resource. The human resource can be properly used, okay, which is very important resource that they can use it properly. Improves job satisfaction and fair remuneration. Remuneration means salary. Remuneration means salary. Rewards, bonus for the employees. Okay, for the employees, what they are giving? Job satisfaction means good type of facilities and also good remuneration, bonus, rewards. If they do overtime, then overtime money is given. So these types of things are provided to the employees. That is staffing. Next, process of staffing. Estimating the manpower requirement. First stage, first how this process will start means, first they have to estimate how much manpower is required. Nowadays technology is also using 10% work is done by one computer. Yes, so how much they have to estimate how many members are required for this job. Okay, in designing the organization structure, while designing the organization structure, various job positions are created. Various jobs are created: marketing, financing, management, sales, production section. So number of positions, job positions are created and required the appointment of the person, and in the jobs it required the appointment of the persons with a set of educational qualification. That person should have the qualifications, skills, experience and so on. Okay, so the persons who are appointing in the job, they should have the specific set of educational qualification. One particular degree is required for them, and skills, they have the communication skills, they should have the expressing skills, they should have the motivating skills. According to the job, they should have certain skills which are related with the job. Okay, and experience, and some amount of experience is also necessary. Okay, workload analysis would enable an assessment of number and types of persons necessary to perform of various jobs. So workload analysis, how much work is there. Based on that workload, they can analyze number and types of persons. What type of persons means what type of employees we require, and in how many quantity means numbers, in how many numbers we require that persons to perform various jobs, of the organization, and accomplishment of organization objectives. Accomplishment means the achievement of organizational objectives, how they can achieve the organizational objectives with the employment of the persons. So based on the workload, the number and type of persons that are required for the job are estimated, and for every organization, manpower is very much important. Without the manpower, no organization can't be run. Next one is recruitment. Next stage, first we are estimating how many number of employees we require and what category of employees we require. Next stage, we are moving to the recruitment stage. Recruitment is a process of searching for the prospective employees. So it is a stage of searching for the prospective employee. Prospective employee means correct employee for that job. Okay, there are searching and stimulating them to apply for the job. Stimulating means making motivating. okay, motivating and informing them to apply for the jobs. Okay, whatever the vacancies are there in the organization, for that vacancies they have to apply for those vacancies, jobs in the organization. The advertisement may be displayed. So for that the advertisement play a very important role. The advertisement may be displayed on the factory. On the factory, at the factory wall there will write the vacancies. We required 5 HR managers. We required 5 marketing officers. We required 10 employees. We required 10 chartered accountants. So these type of information that there will be displayed on the factory or office gate. Okay, on factory or on the office gate there will display the information. It may be published in print media, means in the newspaper also it will be published, or electronic media. Electronic media means these electronic internets, these all social media. Okay, they use the social media and technology in order to communicate the people about the jobs. Okay, in this way the communication process will be takes place. So advertisement and this social media play a very important role. Yes, next selection. The third process is the selection. Selection serves 2 important purposes. For in the selection stage, here the recruitment means there will give an advertisement in the newspaper or in the social media. From that some of the people will come for the interview. Okay. So while selecting the employees, they will select the employees in the 2 ways. One way is that firstly it ensures that the organization get the best among the available. So if there is 10 members, I required only 1 member for the job. There is only 1 vacancy, but by seeing the advertisement 10 members came for the interview. So from the 10 members, if I am the manager, I will choose the best one. Okay. Among the 10, I will choose firstly the best one which can give good service for my organization. Next, it enhances the self-esteem. Self-esteem meaning own worth, means own capacity to do the work, and prestige of those selected, and conveys them to seriousness with which the things are done in the organization. Afterwards, in the second stage, after selecting that particular person, I will convince him about the job and how you have to be performed, how much you have to be serious, okay, how you have to be in the organization. So whatever the instructions are there, I will just go on through that. Those who are able to successfully negotiate the test and interview, I will go for the interview also. I will conduct a small talent test also for them. Okay, there is small interview for them about their background, or if regarding if they are come for the account job, there I will ask some questions about the accounts. Okay, indirectly or indirectly I will ask some of the questions. Based on that answers, I will select the best one. Okay, and offer them as an employment. I will give employment to them. I will appoint them as my employee in my organization. And the next stage, that is the placement and orientation. So what here we will do means, after submitting the joining report by the employee at the workplace, when the employee submit his joining report, okay, at workplace, the employee give the presentation about the company. So firstly, that employee don't know anything about the company. Yes, he don't know anything. So some managers will be sit and they will tell about the information about the company. What is the company, how you have to work, how you have to do hard work, what is the previous history of that company, what is their qualifications, how they become as a managers. So everything regarding that they will tell. Is introduced to his supervisor, subordinates and colleagues. Afterwards, he will be introduced to his subordinates, okay, superior officers who will be head on him, okay, superiors and subordinates and colleagues who are there. For them, they will introduce that he is the new employee, he joined recently. In this way, they will introduce him. In the next stage, what they will do, training and development. They will send that employee for the training purpose in order to develop that employee personal abilities, okay, by providing training to these its employees, the organizations are not only be able to attract but also retain its talented persons. So by sending them training and developing the personal skills of the employee, by that organization not only getting good employees but also most talented persons in their organization, so that they can achieve the good results. By that the organization can be successful. So these all are stages. Planning stage, just we going for planning, organizing, we are organizing all the stage, all the things, and afterwards if there is any vacancies, then we go to the stage of staffing. So in the stage we will select the correct person at the correct job, and after we will give the appointment to that person will be appointed, and afterwards some training and development will be given to him. Sometimes some companies will send some employees to abroad also. Okay, so these type of things are carried on in this stage. In the next session, we will meet with the remaining functions of the management. Okay, so you have to do work hard at the home. Our syllabus is nearly going to be complete, so you should not have to waste the time. Time is very precious. Once you lost, you cannot get it back. So you just do practicing. Writing practice, and also you have to write neatly along with speedness. Speed is also very important. Speed and good writing both are very helpful for you in the examination. Okay, right. Good morning, ma. Welcome to Alpha Online Education Commerce Theory part for the second year's English medium. The chapter that we are dealing with, that is the functions of management. So in the previous sessions we have discussed about the planning, organizing, staffing. Yes, we have discussed about the three functions, and in this session we are going to discuss about the fourth function of the management, that is directing. Directing means giving instructions to the subordinates, seeing whether they are doing the job good or not, whether they are following the goals of the organization or not. So this is known as directing. Simply, in the simple words, I have explained you what is directing. Giving directions to the subordinates by the management or superior, and seeing whether they are doing correctly or not. If they are not doing, they are out of the track, then bringing them into track so that they can achieve the ultimate organization objective. Okay, so this is the introduction. Just in a simple words we can say what is directing. Okay, now let us move on to the meaning of the directing. Yes, the term directing includes the issue of orders and instructions. Okay, it is an issue of order and instruction. Issue of orders and instruction to the subordinates. Okay, issuing orders and instructions to whom? To subordinates. Who will issue that orders? Superiors. Okay, superiors or management. Guiding and educating them in the proper methods of doing work. So what the superiors will do, they will provide guidelines and educate them, educate the subordinates by proper methods, so that they can do the work so that the subordinates can do the work, and the superiors will supervise. Okay, they will supervise the work whether they are doing correctly or they are committing any kind of mistake. If there is any mistake, they will explain in this way you should not have to do, you have to do in this way. So in this way they will give explanation and they will provide guidelines how to do the work fastly without losing the energy. Okay, that is about the directing. Let us move on to directing the subordinates required the following activities. While directing the subordinates, while the superiors or management directing the subordinates, they required the following activities. These activities are required. Let us see what is this. Issuing order and instruction. First, the superior or management, what they have to do? They have to issue orders or instructions. First step, they have to issue order or instruction. Guiding, instructing and counseling the subordinates about proper way of doing the work. After that, they have to provide the guidance, instructing, okay. If there is any problem to the subordinate with the work or within the workplace, then counseling should have to be done. Counseling means explaining, this is not the way of behaving with the other subordinates, this is not the way of doing the work, okay. This type of small type of counseling the subordinates about proper way of doing the work, how they have to do work properly. So for that they are giving the counseling and instructions, guidelines to the subordinates. Monitoring the work of the subordinates to ensure their performance is according to the plan, okay. They monitor the work of the subordinates, whether they are doing the work according to the organizational plan or they are doing something wrong. So he will monitor, he will keep his eyes on the subordinates. Motivating the subordinates to change attitudes, okay, to change attitudes towards achievement of organizational goals. So the superior or the management, what they have to do, they have to motivate, okay, they have to motivate the subordinates to achieve the organizational objectives. See, in the organization different peoples are involved, every person has different attitude. So it is the duty of the management or it is the duty of the superiors to change the attitude of the person or change the attitude of an employee towards their organizational objectives or towards the achievement of their organization goals. Because every person comes from different backgrounds and they have a different type of circumstances. So at the time when they all come at the one place, they have to be motivated, okay, they have to be motivated and they have to bring in the track so that only the organization can achieve its ultimate goal or targets. Next, fifth one is that maintaining discipline and rewarding effective job. So when they are performing good job, when they are doing the work effectively, means correctly and in short time, perfect work, at that time they should have to be given some rewards, and discipline is very much important. It is not only important for the workers, it is not only important for the subordinates, it is important for top level management, middle level management and low level management, for total organization from top administrative staff to bottom labor. Up to that there should be some discipline, then only the organization can achieve its ultimate goal. Next, importance of directing. What are the importance? Let us see. Directing guides employees to realize their potential and capabilities by motivating and providing effective leadership. So the superiors become as a leaders, okay. They will take the leadership and they will motivate, they will give instructions, they will educate, they will provide whatever type of help that subordinates required, and they motivate the subordinates so that their inner potential, means inner capabilities, inner capacities, inner creativity, that can become outside and which help for the organization to achieve its objectives. Through directing, managers not only tell the people as to what they should do, when they should do and how they should do, but also see that their instructions are implemented in proper manner. So directing means not only telling to the people that what they should have to do and when they should have to do, how they should have to do, not only these, and also it also involves seeing that the instructions whatever passed to the subordinates, okay, whatever the instructions that are passed to the subordinate, whether they are implementing properly or not, whether they are implementing properly or not. This is also the responsibility, okay, this is also the responsibility of the superior or the manager, okay. Next, principles of directing. Yes, maximum individual contribution. So maximum, how much an individual employee, how much an individual employee can contribute his service to the organization, that much he has to contribute. When he contribute good service to the organization, then the organization will be developed. Ultimately, the employee remuneration will also be increased. Remuneration ante salary. Okay. Directing techniques must help every individual in the organization to contribute his maximum potential. Maximum potential means maximum capacity. Doing a work, every person has different capacity. A person will complete a work within a week. Another person will take a month to complete it. And one more person take just one day to complete that particular work. Because of inner potential. Every person has different capabilities, right? So, for achievement of organizational objectives, in order to achieve the organizational objectives, it is necessary that every individual should have to contribute whatever the potential, inner potential they have to contribute for the organizational development. Harmony of objectives. Harmony means bringing together different types of attitudes. We find that individual objectives of workforce and organizational objectives conflict each other. కాన్ఫ్లిక్ట్ మీనింగ్ ఏంటంటే డిస్ప్యూట్స్, గొడవలు అన్నట్టు, లేదా కాన్ఫ్లిక్ట్స్ అంటే ఓ టైప్ ఆఫ్ డిస్టర్బెన్స్ ఏర్పడుతుంది. ఎక్కడ మేడం అంటే we find that individual objectives, okay, one person individual objective and organizational objectives. Yes, individual objectives are different from the organizational objectives. There is a variation between these two, between the organizational objectives and between the individual objectives. So when these two objectives they interact, at the time there is a conflict. Okay, just how it will be like ఐరన్ని తీసుకొని మనము స్టోన్ మీద కొడితే స్మాల్ ఫైర్ స్పార్క్ వస్తుంది చూడండి, ఆ విధంగా అన్నట్టు చిన్న స్పార్క్ అనేది ఏర్పడుతుంది. ఎలా మేడం అంటే ఇండివిజువల్ ఆబ్జెక్టివ్స్ గోయింగ్ టు బీ ఇన్ కాన్ఫ్లిక్ట్ విత్ ద ఆర్గనైజేషనల్ ఆబ్జెక్టివ్స్. సో ఇట్ ఈస్ ద డ్యూటీ ఆఫ్ ద మేనేజర్ టు బ్రింగ్ ఆల్ అండర్ వన్ కేటగిరీ. ఓకే, changing the individual objectives into organizational objectives. That is the duty of the manager. That's why I have written here harmony of objectives. Harmony means making common, making all the objectives of the individual as common to which are similar, common or similar to the organizational objectives. So that is about the harmony of objectives. Next, that is the unity of command. Yes, next is unity of command. Command means what? See, in the unity of command, that is nothing. One subordinate, see, group of subordinates or one subordinate should have to receive instruction from one superior. Command should be received from only one superior. Next, appropriateness of direction techniques. So, according to this principle, appropriate motivation and leadership techniques should be used while directing the people. While giving directions to the people, it is necessary for the supervisor or manager to become as a leader, to stand as a leader and also motivate them. Motivation will bring a certain change in human being. So they have to motivate them to achieve the organization goals. Okay, to bringing them under the track. When they are out of the track, they have to bring on the track so that the organization objectives can be easily achieved and the organization can be survive in the dynamic environment. Managerial communication. Effective managerial communication across all the levels in the organization makes the directing effective. So there should be a communication among all the levels, from top level to middle level, from middle level to bottom level. So at every level there should be a communication. Without the communication, the directing processes can't be successful. So communication is the most important thing in the organization. Use of informal organization. Formal, informal. Formal means official. Informal means unofficial. Okay. Manager should realize that. The manager should have to realize that there will be informal groups or organizations exist with every formal organization. In every formal organization, there will be informal groups of employees or organizations, means unions. Okay. So the manager should have to take these informal groups or organizations as a source. Okay, he has to utilize it as a source. And who is the main leader in that group? ఓకే ఇన్ఫార్మర్ అంటే కూర్చొని మాట్లాడుకుంటూ ఉంటారు, నార్మల్గా ఎంప్లాయీస్ వర్క్ చేయకుండా సోదే మాట్లాడుకుంటూ ఉంటారు. సో అట్లా మాట్లాడుకునేటప్పుడు వాళ్ళు ఏం చేస్తుంటారు, వాళ్ళ గురించి వీళ్ళ గురించి దే విల్ టాక్ అబౌట్ ద కాంట్రవర్సీస్, దే విల్ టాక్ అబౌట్ సమ్ అదర్, దే టాక్ అబౌట్ ద మేనేజ్మెంట్ లెవెల్, దే టాక్ అబౌట్ ద అడ్మినిస్ట్రేటివ్ లెవెల్. ఓకే, దీస్ టైప్ ఆఫ్ group discussions they will do. So the manager, the intelligent manager, what he has to do means he has to see, and by seeing that he has to utilize that negative point as a positive point. Okay, it is a negative thing, informal thing in the organization is a negative, but he has to convert that negative into positive to achieve the organization goal. Okay. Leadership. Managers should exercise good leadership as it influences the subordinates positively. So, manager should exercise means he has to perform a good leadership. Okay, it influences subordinates positively. So that the subordinates will perform positive way. They do overtime. They will complete the work very fastly because they get motivated, right? While directing the subordinates without causing dissatisfaction to them, without dissatisfying. When you are motivating one employee, you should not dissatisfy other employee. Okay, oh, you are very good at the work, see that fellow is nothing, he don't know anything. Like this you should not have to motivate. You have to motivate in that way that every employee should be motivated. No one should be dissatisfied with the motivation of the manager. So this is about the directing, the fourth principle, the fourth function of the management. And the last final, that is controlling. We will going to study about the controlling in the next session in detail. Okay, right. Good morning ma, welcome to Alpha Online Education Commerce Theory part for the second year's English medium. The chapter that we are dealing with, that is the functions of management, and this is the last function of the management, that is controlling. Okay, you know, in the word controlling itself, the meaning is that controlling the unnecessary things in the organization which become as some type of problem for the organization to achieve its goals and objectives. So let us see the meaning of the controlling and important steps of the controlling and importance of controlling and the limitations of the controlling in detail. So first, the meaning of the controlling. The importance of managerial control lies in the fact that it helps in accomplishing organizational goals. So controlling help in order to achieve the organization goals. Okay, it will help the organization, the organization to achieve its goals. Whatever the goals are there, whatever the objectives are there, that can be achieved by controlling the unnecessary things in the organization. Controlling also helps in judging accuracy. Accuracy means correct, okay, judging correct of standards, okay, how the work has been done, okay, what is the accurate work has been done. Ensuring efficient utilization of resources means efficient means complete, optimum, okay, fully utilization of the resources. We have three types of resources: financial resources, managerial resources and material resources. That resources have to be utilized fully. Boosting employees morale. So boosting the employees means motivating the employees, creating an atmosphere of order and discipline in the organization. So creating an environment in the organization that where there is a discipline and when the orders are received from the superiors, immediately those orders can be kept in the implementation. The type of disciplines are maintained in the organization and creating such type of atmosphere, okay, and coordinating different activities so that they all work together in one direction to meet the targets. And coordinating the employees. Coordinating means motivating, bringing all the employees together. Coordination means bringing all the employees together. All individual goals are changed into organization goals in order to achieve the ultimate most important target of the organization. So for that purpose, the controlling is very most important function of the management. Important steps in the management while controlling. Measuring the actual performance, what is actually done, how much the actual performance against the standard rates. Standards means estimated. They estimate that these amount of, for example, the estimation is 1000 units of production, but the actual performance that they produce only 500 units, means how much they expected 1000 units, but how much the actual performance 500 units. So how much will be the difference? The difference will be 500 units. The difference will be 500 units, and those 500 units difference is known as deviations. Okay, differences ni emantunam ikkada deviations. And recording the deviations of if any, means if there is any difference between the actual performance and estimated performance. Standards means estimated. If there is any difference and that difference is considered as a deviation, means there are went out of the track. If there are on the track, then there will produce 1000 units, but they are not in the track. That's why they have produced only 500 units. So after that, analyzing the reason for such deviation. What was the reason why there have been deviated from the target? So that is analyzed. Fixing the responsibilities. After that, the responsibility are fixed in terms of person responsibility for negative deviation. If there is any deviation happen, if there is any difference between the actual performance and the standard performance, then for that the individual person is responsible. He is only the responsible and he has to complete that work what he has left. Okay. Correction of employee performance so that group goals and plans devised to accomplish them is reached. So they make the correction of employee performance. If any one employee in the group performing in a wrong way, then the superiors or managers will make the necessary corrections and they help the employee to achieve the goals of the group. Okay, they help the employee to achieve the goals of the group by correct planning and by giving certain advices. Okay, so giving certain advices. So these are the important steps in controlling. Next, importance of controlling. What was the importance? What is the need of controlling? Yes, accomplishing organization goals. Accomplishing means achieving. For the achievement of organization goals, the controlling is very much important. Okay, the controlling function measures the progress. It will measure the progress. Progress means actual performance towards the organizational goals. Towards the organization goals. Okay, it measures the actual performance towards the organization goals, and it guides the organization on the right track. It guides the organization. Organization means who? Employees. It guides the employees on the right track. Okay, so that organization goals may be achieved. In that way, the organization goals can be achieved. Guiding accuracy of judging accuracy of standards. Judging what is the actual performance, what is the standard performance. Standard means estimated performance, and comparing these two, what is the difference, that is deviation. Okay, an effective control system keep a careful check on the changes taking place in the organization to review the standards. So what are the changes taking place in the organization, and changes taking place in the organization, and carefully checking what is going on in the organization, why the estimated goals are not achieving, what is the reason, who are the reasons for that. If employee is the reason, then they provide the guidelines, they will provide the some type of instructions to him, how they have to do the work. Okay, they will help. Maximize, making efficient use of resources. So once again I am saying that already I have explained you in the meaning itself, that whatever the resources we have three types of resources: financial resources, human resources, and material resources. So those resources have to be utilized completely. Wastage of any resource will make the organization to suffer the losses, and it can't able to survive in the dynamic environment, and it also can't able to achieve its goals and targets. Okay, improving employee motivation. Employee motivation is very, very, very important in the organization. Okay, a good control system ensures that employees to know in advance. Employees can know in advance what they are expected to do. So if the employee, a good control, if there is a good control in the organization, then employee can know in advance, he can know for what work he has been appointed, what the organization is expecting from him, and what he has to do, on which they are apprised, means appointed. For what work they are appointed, what the organization is expecting from these employees, they will know by good control. So it will motivate the employee to do more and more work. Ensuring orders and disciplines. There should be good orders. The superior should have to give order to the subordinate. One superior should have to give order to the subordinate. At a time, the subordinates should not have to receive the instructions. So one superior should only give the order to the subordinates. At a time, number of subordinates superior should not have to give the instructions. Okay, discipline is necessary from the top level to the bottom level. Yes. Next, limitations of controlling, the problems of controlling. Difficulty in setting quantitative standards. Okay, difficulty in setting quantitative standards. Control system lost some of its effectiveness when standards can't be defined in quantitative terms. So when the expectations is not defined in the quantitative terms, how I have defined 1000 units and 500 units in quantity. So if they are not defining, means they are not expressing in terms of quantity, that is a quantity, right? So if they are not expressing the targets into the quantity, the employee can't know how much performance they have to perform. Okay, it is the biggest drawback, we can say that. Okay, little control on external factors. So generally the enterprise can't control the external factors. It can't control totally the external factors. That is out of their control. Changes in the government policy, changes in the consumer taste, changes in the technology. These all are the things that are out of the control. So he can't control the external factors. Resistancy from employees. Control is often restricted by employees. They see it as a restrictions on their freedom. So while controlling by the managers or supervisors, the employees feel that they're keeping some type of restrictions and there is no freedom to express their opinions, to share their views and to do something in a creativity way. Okay, that is also a limitation. Costly affair. So while making control, it required more time, it required effort, it required more amount of money also. So this is possible only for the large organizations, large business organizations. It is not possible for small business organizations because it is very expensive to install. It is very expensive to install for the small organization. Okay, next in the next session we will meet with the topic that is planning, organizing, controlling, directing and one more thing, that is reporting. Yes, we will discuss those things in the next session. Okay, that is the last topic of this chapter. Yes. Good morning, ma. Welcome to Alpha Online Education. Commerce theory part for the second year's English medium, the chapter that we are dealing with the functions of management. And this is the last topic of the chapter, that is the postcard. So, what it indicates? Post record. So, what it indicates means P means planning, O means organizing, S means staffing, D indicates directing, C means coordinating or controlling, O means organizing, R means reporting, B means budgeting. So, in 1937, Luther Gulick and L. Urwick described several major activities and duties of Chief Executive Officer. So, these two persons have defined major activities and duties of Chief Executive Officers, that is CEO. So, what are the duties and what are the activities that every CEO should have to do? So, according to them, so CEOs has to perform these activities. What are those? They have to make the planning, they have to do the organizing, means bringing all the things together, staffing, employment, employee recruitment process, directing, giving directions, seeing whether they are doing or not, coordinating means motivating the employees, bringing together the employees together, controlling them, Reporting means to whom the executive is responsible, inform what is going on. So, they have to inform to the person to whom they have responsible, they have to inform to the person to whom they are responsible and they should explain that what is going on in the organization, which includes the information. The information should be about himself, okay. So, about the manager himself and his subordinates, how they are performing through records, through research and inspection. Inspection means by checking everything whether they are doing good or not, and they have to inform to the executive. Okay, whether the superiors or the managers, they have to inform what is going on in the organization to the executive. Okay, that is reporting. Next one is budgeting. Budgeting means it is connected with the planning, accounting and controlling. How much should be the budget? There should be a budget plan. After that, the budget related accounts should have to be prepared. Accounts regarding budget means income and expenditure accounts, and afterwards unnecessary expenditure should have to be controlled. Okay, so that is about the budgeting. Next one is the usage and application. So what is the usage of these? Postcode means the usage of these is It benefits the organization in structuring and analyzing the management activities. It is very much helpful for the organization to achieve its objectives, and it also helps for structuring and analyzing the management activities, how the management is performing their duties, how they are responsible towards the organization, how they are motivating the employees to do the work. This all shows by the post-COPE. Okay, so post-COPE will explain the structure and analysis of management activities. Limitations. The limitations, whatever the limitations of planning, organizing, staffing, directing, controlling, reporting, budgeting. So what are the limitations of these means, according to Mark Moore, in his view, in his point of view, the single most important job of a manager is understanding and shaping the environment of the organization by means of services it delivers to its customers and clients. So according to him, this is not the job of the manager, that is planning, controlling, coordinating. This is not the job of the manager. According to the Mark, it is not the job of the manager. Actually, the job of the manager that he has to change the environment. He has to change the organization environment according to the services. According to the services, what you want to give to your clients. Okay, what you want to give to your customers. Okay, that type of services, and based on that services you have to, the manager should have to change the environment. Okay, the manager should have to understand and shape the environment, means change the environment. The first he has to understand what type of services they have to give. After that he have to shape the environment. These all process is not important in the point of view of Mark. Next, Dr. Lewis Meren. According to him, what the Lewis said that, according to him, manager have to plan something. See, the total work is doing by the manager himself. The administration, what they are doing? They are doing nothing. The manager has to plan something. The manager has to organize something. The manager has to direct something. Compare the training facility within the industry, but do not pay any attention to what the manager should achieve. So, sometimes they provide the training. They provide the training to the management within the organization. In that training, the manager is given the training for plan. The manager have to do plan for something, and he has to organize, he has to direct. This type of training is given within the industry, but they never pay attention. Okay, they never pay any attention to what actually the manager achieve. Okay, what the manager should actually achieve, whether he achieve these things or he has to achieve some other thing. What he has to achieve according to our organization, what he has to achieve, that is important, rather than sending him his to training and building all the qualities of the post-corp. This is not an important thing according to the Lewis. Okay, so these are the some of the limitations of planning, organizing, directing, coordinating, controlling, organizing, reporting, budgeting. These are the some of the disadvantages. Up to here we have completed 9th chapter and the 10th chapter. So only 3 chapters are remain in our syllabus, that is the 6th, 7th, 8th chapter. So almost in the 100% syllabus we have completed 70% syllabus, only 30% syllabus is remain. So you should not have to waste the time. Now the time is started for you to start the preparation. Okay, only 30% is there. Within this month I try to complete the syllabus within this month, so that the total syllabus will be completed. Then your duty will be started. My duty is completing here. Then your duty will be start to read and practice make the writing practice. The writing should be very neat. After completing all the chapters, I will give you important questions, 5 marks, 10 marks and 2 marks questions which are most important. I will give you one video. In that there will be 10 marks questions, important questions from all the chapters, 5 marks questions and 2 marks questions. Okay? Yes. All the best for your preparation. Start your preparation from today onwards. Okay? Right.